fetishist women of Reddit. What fetish is really hard to find in men? Over a drunken drinking game, I found out one of the girls that lived above us in student accommodation had a thing for guys coming too quick and getting embarrassed. The issue was, without fail, every guy she had told about it will inevitably just try and come really quick, which wasn't the same thing. I don't know why, but I found the entire thing hilarious. I love when men come inside of me without protection. This is, obviously, an issue. Please fucking moan in my ear. I am tired of the stigma that women like quiet guys. Please moan. I want a man to act like he kidnapped me and I'm his prisoner, and he's like in between acting nice and acting like a psychopath. It what mine is called. I just like getting people off. I don't even have to get off. But knowing that something I did made you so worked up that you had to come. I'll play into anyone's fetish, as long as they get off or get insane pleasure from it. I enjoy dominating men, but unfortunately every guy I ever dated liked to dominate as well. I'll admit it, I have a consensual non-consent fetish, and I guess it's hard to bring up and find guys who are willing to do that stuff. Lots of guys are into being dominant and rough, which is usually what I'll settle for. But the only two I've brought up the rape fantasy thing with have been too uncomfortable with it and refused. One actually said I should get therapy for liking that stuff. And I'm afraid of specifically seeking out guys that are also into CNC because I feel like the fetish attracts some fucked up characters. Bad people. Not all, of course, but it's daunting. Holding hands. I like being slapped in the face. Most guys don't want to hit girls, which is good, but also lame. I bet impregnation ain't high on the list. Dude here, YMMV, I've been surprised that many of my female partners are very into videos of me masturbating and coming. I'm specifically talking just a video of me playing with my bits and money shots. It's like none of their partners asked if they'd like that sort of thing. A couple have even told me that they asked prior partners for coming videos and they were always turned down. One that I'm barely seeing anymore has given me permission to send her anything at any time. No other guys want to do it. She likes being a voyeur into my personal pleasure. She loves knowing that I was thinking of them during, and that they were the ones making the magic happen. For a long time I have had a serious fetish for having my feet pampered. Like having someone rub them, paint my toes, kiss my feet, or let me give them a foot job. Honestly, the foot job is usually a reward for pampering me, but I genuinely enjoy it too. But all too often I get guys who say it's just not their thing. I get it. Sure. But guys with foot fetishes seem so popular. I usually wear open-toed shoes or go barefoot whenever I can, just to see if I can catch someone looking. It seems like I'm surrounded by foot fetishists until I actually go on a date with a guy. Then suddenly no one cares. Sad face. I like being called good girl, but not if it's a daddy thing. Just being called that can send me over the edge, especially when it's whispered in my ear. It's a lot harder to find men who will use you like you won't break. My BFRN knows that I like basically being used like a doll. Yet in the past I couldn't find any guy who would go as far and like choking. Even during threesomes you have one guy being rough and the other going at his own pace. My fetish is for a medical condition. Marfan syndrome. Thankfully it's pretty rare since it's shitty and potentially life-threatening. But I can't help what I like. I've been able to indulge once, and likely won't be able to again. Of the small number of people who have it, only half are men. And of those men, I doubt many would find me attractive since I'm a fat chick. But I'm still on the lookout for the Marfan chubby chaser of my dreams. I love men who make noises and look like they are about to unleash. I love being choked and choking them. I love biting and being bitten. I love ball gags. I love the taste of cum. So coming on my stomach or in my mouth so I can lick it up. Odd. Cunnilingusts. Y'all all wanna use ya dicks. But I want you to use your mouth. I feel like I'm just the right level of psycho that I'm down for almost everything in this comment section. I'm a lesbian with a daddy kink, but finding a woman that'll let you call her daddy is obviously difficult. Let alone finding somebody who is into it. But my current partner thinks it's super hot, so I definitely lucked out. I am into teratophilia, an attraction to monsters. More specifically, I never really find guys that are into that stuff. I literally had only one man throw a punch at me, uneasy face. I'm into really hard impact play. Not just spanking and slapping, but I want the man to beat me until I'm bruised. Yes, I know it's weird. And sadly most men don't want to hurt a woman. I mean, it's admirable. I'm glad they're not some serial killer. But come on, I want to be gut punched. As of this writing, there are 16 comment threads on this post, not including this one. 7 are from men. Make of that what you will. Intense knife play. I have a serious fetish for being cut, like actually cut and bleeding, and for the blood to be present as a sexual fluid. I want someone to lick my cuts and carve things into my skin. And then being bandaged up and disinfected afterwards would be such an amazing form of aftercare. This is hard to find, because everyone I've been close enough to share my kinks with is aware that I have a history of self-harm and probably don't want to enable/trigger/hurt me. You fools. My self-harm was how I discovered this fetish. I thought being punched in the face would be hot, until I got punched in the face. Maybe like a size kink. Like guys being into women/men bigger/taller than them. Don't think it's quite common. In my personal experience, you'll have a hard time finding a guy being the fetishism fetish. I like my men like I like my coffee. I don't like coffee. Jesus. These responses. I can see why 50 Shades was such a hit. Some hidden stuff women don't usually share. If it's a fetish exactly. But I'm a butch girl who's pansexual. I've only ever been with women since I guess I look like a lesbian, and almost always been a top, so I've never actively sought out anything with dudes because I know that they wouldn't be interested in doing anything that I'd be interested in doing. Or if they are a bottom, they're probably not into girls. I've only ever told my current GF that I'm into dudes because nobody's really asked before. Intelligence. You all should check out Mojo Upgrade. Calm with your partners, you say what you want or what you would be down for if they are also down for it, but it only shows where you match up, so there isn't the awkward part where you said you wanted something and they didn't want it, but now they know, so they try it and they aren't into it. A lot of precum. Like. Enough to be wet/if rubbing or playing above clothes like jeans. Would eventually and easily come through. My first BF ruined this for me, and I haven't done across another guy like this since. It's my white whale of really hot things that a guy could do. Something about it is such a turn on, but honestly I feel like I barely find a guy who has any precum, let alone a ton. Be rough with me. Guys are so gentle now. So vanilla. I mean, my dude now is spicy in the bedroom. So no complaints. But before him and I was dating the last few years. Nope, all so simple. Even if I lay it out how I want, they won't be rough with me. My boyfriend has trouble being rough with me, since I'm very small compared to him and he's a really sweet person. I don't want someone who's genuinely a bad person that wants to hurt me. I just enjoy the dominance of it. It's not really fetish, I don't think. But I find it hot when they have clown makeup and a wig on. No shirt but the pants, the shoes, everything. I'm not joking. Only one guy has wanted to do it, but he and I no longer speak. I had a GF once who loved being tied up and left alone in the bedroom naked. The longer the better. I once tied her up and left her in the bedroom for 8 hours. When I let her out, she was exhilarated. She loved every moment and wished it was longer. Yeah, she had issues. Confident cross-dressers that are attracted to women. I'm really not into the whole sissification thing and anything like that. But it's all I usually see. Even just the makeup without feminine clothes would be great. I've only found 2 guys that kind of fit the bill. But one was a former alcoholic who'd only confidently cross-dressed when drunk. So That wasn't happening. I also like a bit of gender role reversal, which is probably unsurprising. 2 dicks. For the love of God, makes some noise. Women love to hear their partners moan and give indications of pleasure. I'm an athletic female, and I'm super sexually attracted to fat guys. I've never even slept with a big guy though. I've been on dates with a few, but they never seem interested, or maybe we just don't have a lot in common. So it doesn't click? So I tend to date larger build athletic guys. But whenever they gain a little weight and I'm super stoked on it, they get self-conscious and try to lose it. Womp womp. This thread gives me hope. My ex-girlfriend liked to make battle scenarios with mini military figurines. At least in where I live, men who like to be tied up, tickled and teased. Man, I have not found one yet IRL. Foreplay. Sex that lasts longer than 5 minutes. Based on my experience and current partner. Unicycles. Asking/begging for him to come inside me even though I absolutely do not want him to, because babies. I kinda hate bringing it up because I don't want guys to think I'm crazy and am trying to get pregnant. Men that are submissive. Legit. Always wanted to peg a guy, but no guys are into that, and the moment you mention it they get all weird and insulted like you want to murder their manhood or something. I've pegged other women before and it's a blast. Oh. And when I say I can't find a guy that's into it, I can't find a guy that isn't Tyler or Jamal from 7-Elevens that isn't into it. I mean a nice looking guy that doesn't look nasty or weird. Hardcore rape victim blaming. In that it's really hard to find on anyone because the thought of that probably made you uncomfortable just hearing it. It's okay, r/rape kink understands me. Every woman who comments here has probably got an inbox full of and desperate men. Where do I begin? Rape fantasy. I want to be watched. Peed on. 2 guys at once. Jerked off on. Recorded. The list goes on. How many girls wish they had? Say. 4 men they had to keep satisfied? Anyone else here so they can see if they fit the bill? It's hard to find a guy that will be forceful, but will also stop if you say the word. I like things rough sometimes, but my boyfriend feels like he is hurting me and doesn't want to feel like he's raping me. Which of course I understand, so I don't push it. But it would be nice to try. Well, I've been scrolling for a while and I still haven't seen my fetish. I like Nikos and maids, lol. I like dressing up in cutesy dresses and lingerie with my cat ears. I have yet to get a decent cat tail, though. My fiance thinks it's pretty weird, but our weeb friends convinced him to try it. I also like the tennis skirts and thigh highs with modest tops. I read this as fetishist women of Reddit. I'm gonna go watch Mean Girls now. I have found it hard to find men who like to spank me. Also the whole dominate me and tear off my clothing. This is some next level scheming. CNC sessions. I heard it's manners. Be a dumb. I'll let myself out. So I have thing for nipples. I love seeing them on women and men. I want to suck on them and play with them. Men tend to find that act disturbing since it's usually associated to women. Hotwifing. A loyal guy who shares his girlfriend/wife. Edit. This whole thread is just about mentioning a fetish that's hard to find. And suddenly I'm being downvoted because it's a fetish that men reading this don't want. Ha 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 ha, irony. A good BDSM partner. Most are too afraid to take control. Respecting women. I'm absolutely convinced that someone is going to say intelligence and they would be right. Coughs awkwardly virgin fetish. Like I'm on birth control. But it's mostly in my end. Disappears into darkness. I have trouble finding men who are really good at degradation. Both verbal/physical. That doesn't feel forced. I appreciate when they try, but it's never right if they aren't into it. Just feels unnatural and they always have to ask what I want them to say, which ruins the whole scene. Only ever had one dude who could really just emotionally break me down with his words during play, and it was great. Hard impact play as well. Every man in the comment section, it's free real estate. It's so hard to find a man who actually enjoys subbing sometimes. The last guy I used to date would switch things up any way I wanted to. And when I felt like tying him up, he got into it just as much as I did. Oof. One of my all-time favorites. I love my boyfriend to death. But he doesn't really like to be tied up. Maybe someday though. Reading this sub makes me realize I'm not alone and weird. Okay, maybe it's still weird, for my so-called weird or unusual fetishes. Dude here. Frankly speaking, I came here to check out some fetishes that are new, haven't heard about, that most men would say no to. But all I read are rather common fetishes that many men would enjoy. I guess my assumption is wrong. I am into all of these. How come it is hard to find men for these common fetishes? I would assume that more men are into kinky fetishes than women. So it should be easy to find such men.